Are you a female entrepreneur who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure how to move forward? The Life Coaching for Business Builders program helps you harness your inner power, build your authentic platform, and chart a clear path to business success. You don't have to do this alone. Together, we'll create strategies, structure, and accountability to help you boss up in life and business. It's time to claim your power and make your business dreams a reality.
And welcome to Boss Business Strategies, the premier talk show for entrepreneurs looking to scale to their first $1 million, where I, Dr. Marcia, bring you right front and center to the blueprint behind the brand, straight from the millionaire entrepreneurs themselves. I'm your physician, I'm your life coach and your business coach and radio personality, and I help female entrepreneurs who are navigating the business building process to harness the power of their story, build an authentic platform, and chart a clear pathway to business success. It's all about the power, it's all about the platform, and it's all about the process, the pathway. And so today I have a powerhouse coming to the stage. This is Dr. Jeanette Linder. She is a powerhouse in medicine, leadership, and holistic wellness. She is a board certified radiation oncologist turned functional and integrative medicine expert. And Dr. Linder, she has spent her career leading with her heart, with excellence, and with innovation, managing multi-million-dollar hospital systems, building high-performing teams, and championing patient-centered care at the highest level. Known for blending science with soul, Dr. Linder helps people reclaim their health, their energy, and their resilience by focusing on the 5 pillars of optimal living: movement, nutrition, sleep, which I need more of, stress mastery, and meaningful connections. Her patients know her as the doctor who just doesn't prescribe, but she inspires. She empowers and sometimes even turns on music in the exam room to get you moving, because she believes that wellness should feel alive, joyful, and sustainable. She is a lifelong lover of movement and adventure, and Dr. Linder lives what she teaches. She has over a 20-year history as a Pilates devotee, an aerial yoga enthusiast, a certified bungee trainer. Like, what? And you can also find her hiking, biking, quoting, cooking, and dominating the pickleball court. But today, her passion is guiding busy professionals, leaders, and everyday humans into holistic, energized, and fully alive living so they can show up stronger in their bodies, in their families, in their careers, and in their purpose. Dr. Jeanette Linder isn't just transforming health, but she is redefining what it really means to live well. Welcome, Dr. Jeanette. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. After that introduction, I don't think I need to say anything. You did such a good job.
So it's so great, and that energy. So I know. So we met, maybe last year,
A couple years ago, yeah.
and we met on a panel, and it was a health panel. But I actually met you the night before at the meet and greet, and the connection was electric. We started having the panel
Right. We were like,
before the panel started. So I want you just to kind of say hello and kind of just share with folks kind of how we met and what you took away.
so we were at a fantastic conference, Women Elevating Women, which does just that. And you and I were talking about, harmony and balance and all these things. And you and I have lived the life where we've overdone it and, burnt to a crisp, and also figured out how to do the right thing and come out without destroying ourselves. Or maybe I can help you do that. You're not sleeping. But I don't know. We just connected, I think, because we've dealt with so many similar things, big stresses that took a toll on our bodies and minds and spirits. And we kept pushing for everybody else and not taking care of ourselves. And we were just like kindred spirits. It was so fun. And also, with that fun comes the recognition that somebody's had a really hard journey. And you see that in somebody else. There's resilience that sometimes covers up the hard journey. And then there's resilience that acknowledges the journey, learns from it, and moves forward. And you're one of those people.
Oh, well, thank you. And that just kind of transitioned right over into the panel. And we were having so much fun, right? There was 3 or 4 other speakers,
Yeah.
and we just didn't want it to stop. And even after the session was over, I remember people coming up to us and we're like, "Oh my gosh, that was so good!" And like, we could have kept on going, but
Yeah.
the time allotted just wasn't enough. But I wanna now transition this to how you went from radiation oncology to functional medicine and all that you're doing. What's that backstory?
So it's funny because I've always tried to practice in a holistic fashion. And I involved all sorts of other complementary things, acupuncture and massage and nutrition and spirituality. And I always told patients, when you don't move, you're sending a message that resources are scarce and, you might be dying. But when you get up and move, you're telling your body that you're alive and you intend to stay that way. And my late husband used to say, don't let them see all of you. You want to keep that job. Don't get a little too woo woo on them. And I'm like, too late. I already did that. And it really helped. It helped patients be heard. But as we know, the business of medicine, you can't charge for those things. And I'm not faulting the people I worked for. It's the system that was built. But I couldn't really dive deep into these things that create sustainable living and improve your soul at the same time in that setting. And I burned out spectacularly living the conventional medicine model because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't living in my principles back then. I was helping other people do it, but I was terrible at doing it myself. So I retired in 21 and I thought I was done to the point that I didn't even renew some of my certifications and licensures. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a mess. So I did the year of Jeanette and I went to a functional nutritionist and I worked on a physical therapy thing and I did all these other things and I reconnected with friends and family and really got more into the Pilates and the yoga and the working out. And a lot of things got better. But working with the functional nutritionist, I actually got worse. My cholesterol got worse. And she shamed me, like, you're a doctor, you should know this. And she's like, just eat when you're hungry. And I said, I'm always hungry. 60 to 90 minutes after a meal, I am ravenous. Um, and so that didn't go very well. And I was also like, I felt like a loser. I'm a doctor, I'm supposed to know this. So I took a really deep dive into functional medicine. I spent like 400 hours studying various things. I took all the courses necessary for certification. I did all these other things, and I realized I didn't know how to listen to my body. In fact, my profession encouraged me to not listen to my body. That's how you pull all-nighters. That's how you work in the OR for hours at a time. Hello. Uh, and I thought my income should be proportionate to my bladder capacity. So I should be getting the most in the building, right? So because I didn't have time to go to the loo, right? So I lowered my cholesterol 70 points in 6 months without any medication when I started learning to listen. And I needed objective measures and I needed subjective measures. And, I think that functional nutritionist was trying to do a good job, but she didn't realize that I guess she had to humiliate me in order for me to be motivated and learn how to do it the right way. That way wasn't working for
Wasn't
me.
working.
That way might work for someone else, but it did not work for me. So then I thought, this was so hard for me to learn. How are other people going to do this? They don't have time to retire and learn this, and they're not able to learn all the biochemistry in that short amount of time because they don't have the background. So I felt compelled to return because I missed serving humanity. So I still do some radiation oncology. That's like my crisis intervention. It's at a beautiful place in another state that has different laws, and I love it, and it's short term, and then I leave. And that's crisis intervention. And then I have my escorting women to wellness in my private functional practice. And then when you and I were on that panel, and people were asking us how long you and I had been working together. We just had met the night before.
Right before.
Right. This wonderful woman who you know, Michelle Lance, walked up to me afterwards and she said, "You were speaking directly to me. I've been looking for a wellness partner because she's a career strategist." And all the people she was working with had these similar struggles where it was either succeed at work or succeed at home, but they were sacrificing everything and they were exhausted and they had wellness issues. And so she said, "We have to work together." And I had just been saying, "Man, I really like working alone and this is great." But then I saw her and I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Because she's so vivacious and brilliant and inspirational. So now I have 3 gigs. I failed at retirement 3 times. So
Congratulations. You're doing
thank
it
you.
well.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
No, but that's good. I love that. And I met Michelle
Michelle.
last year, although I didn't really know her, but then I was able to, have some conversation with her this year. But one of the things that you said, you talked about the business of medicine. And I happen to have a business of medicine certification from Johns Hopkins. But one of the things the business of medicine teaches you, one is how good your bladder capacity is, because we do not go to the bathroom when we should, okay? Because we think we have to keep going, keep going, keep going. But I want to make it plain for those women and men who are watching. When you talked about burnout, because that's not in the business of medicine, paradigm. What does that look like? And when did you know that you were burned out?
I'm really good at doing that because I did it a couple times. I kind of, instead of being the turtle that just gradually moves up the ladder of success, I would surge up as a rabbit and then collapse for a little while and then surge up and then collapse for a little while. So what it looked like to me was irritability, hardly getting sleep, being exhausted, finally getting into bed and being too wired to get to sleep because I pushed past my body's time where it said, "I'm ready to go to sleep." And when you do that, you reset your circadian rhythms. So everything gets out of balance. So being unable to sleep because you're so tired and eating poorly and racing to the gift shop at 3 o'clock almost every single day to get a 24-ounce soda and 1 to 3 candy bars. Yeah. And that was great for a little while. Like I'd be super high and I can get all kind of stuff done and I can pull an all-nighter. And if I had a cup of coffee, I'm good till like 3 a.m. And I could get so much done. In fact, the transcriptionist said, "Dr. Linder, you're talking so fast that even when I hit the slow button, I can't understand you." So fortunately, I stopped dictating and I started typing myself and I'm like super fast. Um, so that was kind of fun when you're in that high. But then when I crashed a few hours later, I felt terrible. I was dragging. I had joint pains. I had jaw tightness. I had headaches. It was hard for my eyes to focus. These are all ways that my body was screaming, "Stop. This is terrible." And but I just pushed through because we were winners at competitive suffering, right? I can outwork you. I can undersleep you. And yeah, I'm living on candy bars. And man, that's terrible.
Like, you know how they say, tell me you understand without telling me that I understand. And I'm gonna ask you a question. So I'm gonna tell you that my candy bar of choice was a Snickers. What was your
Because
candy
of
bar
the
of choice?
protein in the peanuts, right?
What was your protein of choice? I mean, your candy bar of choice.
Snickers was in the lineup. I had a rotation, and I'd often buy multiple at the same time. Somebody turned me on to paydays. That was really great when I was hiking. I'd alternate paydays with M&Ms, with Milky Ways, with Three Musketeer, with I mean, you name it. If I weren't allergic to tree nuts, coconut, and mango, I would have had that too. Like when the first time I went hiking with my friends of over 24 years, and I told them I wasn't eating candy anymore, they're like, "How are you going to make it up the mountain? Because you ate a candy bar at every rest stop." That was like 4 a day. So
Yeah. We need help. We needed help. Okay. So let's transition this to, now I know you ran A hospital system? Is that what I?
Well, I ran a cancer program
Okay.
that was in 3 hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah.
$40 million budget. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you learned a lot of leadership. You led teams. Able to balance a budget. But as a leadership perspective, how do you transition leading all these other people to really showing up and leading yourself?
That is such a good question because I was not doing that very well. I was focusing on them, whether or not they saw that I was focusing on them, that's what I was doing. And in leadership, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that you can't discuss with other people, that are very, very, very stressful. And I did not have good ways to release that stress. Now I do. If I had a chance to do that particular gig again, I'd do very differently. But I didn't have any self care built in to decompress the stress. And so I just clenched my teeth more and, worked out till to the point where I couldn't raise my heart rate anymore. I was so overtrained. Bragging that I got up at 4:44 in the morning so I could run with my running partner at 5:08 and blah 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 blah. Dropping all the times that I didn't sleep. It was not good, but I did learn to take care of myself. I put a treadmill in my office. I started going to tumor board at 3 miles an hour so they couldn't see that I was walking. But this way, I was starting to take care of myself. I put a little bike in there as well. It was a big office, but it kind of started to show me how to take care of myself. Um, COVID made it especially challenging because we weren't just dealing with the suffering of our patients and our staff on the regular basis because we were always dealing with death and dying and fear. But then you had that whole pandemic on top of it. It just made it so hard. So I would have done things a lot differently if I had another chance. I think the biggest thing is I would have helped people have more faith in themselves. I would have delegated more. I did too many things myself. This is also part of competitive suffering. When you delegate, you actually help other people feel better about themselves, and then they go through their own trials and learn what they can do. So I learned a lot of lessons. I still managed to get it done most of the time, but I could have done so much better if I'd asked for help.
But Dr. Jeanette, if I delegate to someone else, then I have to be okay with how they do it. I do it because I know I can do it the right way. What do you say to that?
Oh God, I said that for so long. And my way seemed like the right way, but it really wasn't. And so I had this team. I love this team. They started out hating each other. They were calling HR on each other all the time. Their work ethic was, let's just say it was not efficient and there was no joy in life. And we had big stuff to do. We had to change over to new machines and we had to go electronic and we had change everything that we did. And there was a while where I said, I have more faith in you than you have in yourself. Like, you can do this. I know you can do this. And they were all so afraid. And also, I was too grumpy, right? I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't, taking care of myself. So the point that I knew that I had finally figured out how to listen and delegate was when we had a problem, it needed to be fixed, and a team of 5 people said, come back in an hour, we'll let you know what we think. And I was like, amazing. And they did such a great job, and it was better than I could have figured out on my own. So, yes, delegating took a while to have faith, but they were better than I was. That's the key. Find smart people.
Find smart people. And what, because I was going to ask you, what is like the self-care method? And you gave me vitamin D, not the vitamin D that we think it is, but vitamin delegation. And
Yeah.
I want you to give us that definition again. When we delegate, we do what?
Well, we empower other people to learn hard things, and then they feel better, and then they do a better job, and then we have better people on our team who want to stick around. I was not good at delegating, and not everybody wanted to stick around. And I regret that I didn't do that very well. But there's some people I did finally start to do that with, and man, they were powerhouses. So that department that started out a mess, only a few people had to be replaced. The others just had to be inspired and they had to feel like they mattered. And we became like one of the happiest departments in the hospital. It was very cool.
Yeah.
I loved working with them. We had a really good time. The other great moment is when they wrote me a song of radiation oncology emergencies to deck the halls. It's too gross to sing right now, but let me tell you, it made my heart sing.
That's amazing. So it
Yeah.
sounds like you were in there doing some great work. And I know that you have the 5 pillars. And if I get them right, if I get them wrong, let me know. But I think it's movement, nutrition, sleep, stress, stress management, and then connection.
Yes, perfect.
As you've worked with high achievers and all the high achievers in the room, won't you raise your hand? Okay, anybody's high, whatever type A, whatever you want to call yourself, okay? Which one of those pillars do you find that most of your clients struggle with the most?
Well, I don't like to make generalizations, but I think in this case it's pretty easy. Sleep. Sleep gets screwed for a lot of people, and it's not good.
What?
Hello, Dr.
Oh,
Marcia.
continue as you were. Go ahead.
But they all go together, right? When you don't sleep well, everything else feels bad and you're grumpy and you say regrettable things and you eat regrettable things. And then, you might not be patient in a meeting. You might hit reply all when it's the worst possible time to do it. Sleep is a really big one. And then the others, it's all about listening to what works for you. So sleep might not be the very first thing that you start with, but it ends up working on the sleep. Like nutrition is a huge one, especially in these institutions where they're trying to save money. So they have contracts for food that goes into the cafeteria, and most of it will kill you. Most of it is, job security for the rest of the building. It's not intended to be that way, but it is, chips that are coming in like 5 serving bags. First of all, 1 serving of chips will spike your glucose and make you feel terrible, but a 5 serving bag, which by the way is hard to not eat, right?
Exactly, because once you start eating them, it's like, and then for me, it becomes a reflex. Mm. And that's how I got through residency in medical school by
Right. It's
eating.
biochemical, right? So when you have the deep fried stuff, the deep fried oil with the salt and the sugar, it creates this beautiful thing called advanced glycation end products. And they hit your nucleus accumbens, they hit your addiction center and they make you super happy. And then you want more, 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 and it becomes a big cycle. And that stuff shoots your cholesterol up. It like caramelizes the stuff in your blood vessels and hardens your arteries faster than all this other stuff. But it changes your microbiome. That's the stuff living in your gut. That's gross to talk about, but it's real. And then that changes the chemicals that are sent to your brain that tell you to eat more. So literally, your gut's telling you what to do.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to stop that. It's very addictive, in the sense that your body then gets on a roller coaster where it wants more. And then you get all these pro-inflammatory bugs living in your guts that release things that make your joints hurt and make you depressed and make you crave. And like, who would know that's in a bag of chips?
You just broke it down, and so let's break it down a little bit more. Okay, so you have somebody who's listening. Okay, top performer, and she or he is stressed out, not eating, not sleeping, not moving, not whatever. And you're like, you know what? It sounds so simple. Sleep, eat better, move. But it's like I'm doing big stuff. I'm flying across the country. I'm on covers of magazines. I'm I'm making people money, and it can't be that simple. But my question to you is it that simple? And if it is, where do people start?
Well, it's simple, but it's not easy. And if you took the list of all the things that the longevity experts tell you you should do, more than half of them will not apply to you because they're not universal. Many of those are based on studies that just included men, and all of those require stacking habits for really long periods of time. So if you pull out that list and say, tomorrow, I'm doing that, even if you hire a staff of people who can set up your life for that, you can't do it. You got to start small. Maybe you just start with, and I really like to start with this for people, find a breakfast that provides you with 30 plus grams of protein so you start your day off without being on a roller coaster. And notice I didn't take anything away. Like, you're going to put in good stuff. That's going to decrease your cravings. That's going to give you that GLP-1 that your body made itself, not the stuff that you have to buy in a syringe and inject. And there are people who benefit from that. I'm not saying nobody should do that, but most people don't need that because they can make their own without any side effects by getting 30 plus grams of protein with breakfast at whatever time you have breakfast, right? It might be 6 a.m. for one person or 2 p.m. for another person, but that first meal of the day starts the metabolic roller coaster. And if you want to have low, easy rolling hills, then you need to start with supportive food. So you just find one thing, and then you start adding in vegetables and you start adding in movement and little things here and there, but you connect it to something that you already do. Like I couldn't remember to take my medicine, so how could I yell at my patients? So I keep my morning pills and my evening pills with my toothbrush. They all come out at night. Brush my teeth, take the night pills, put those away. In the morning, brush my teeth, take the morning pills, put them away. The counter is clear. I almost never forget. The only time I forget now is if I'm on an overnight flight and I forget to put it in my backpack. So, that's one little thing. And now it's easy. I don't have to think about it. And then you stack another little thing. Maybe you put your running shoes next to the counter and then you just put them on. And then in a couple days you put them on and you go for a 5-minute walk. And then you get used to, I'm walking for 5, let's do 10. You set your alarm for 5 minutes, walk as far as you can. The alarm goes off, come back home. That's a 10-minute walk. You don't go from 0 to 100 in one night. That's how you feel like a loser, and that's how you get demoralized, and you go buy 2 bags of chips.
And eat them all at the same time. No,
Yeah, how do
I
I
love
know
it.
this?
I love it. I love it. So for those that are listening, you just got a prescription, okay, from Dr. Jeanette Linder, okay, the prescription. And as I was listening, there I wanted to just to ask you because you started small, and most of us want a big return, right?
Yes.
We want to do one thing and lose the 500 pounds that we gained over the last 10 years. We know it doesn't work like that, but or we do get demoralized, we do get frustrated, and I love your approach of just starting small and kind of working through it. Now, as far as that breakfast, I remember we were just at a conference in Chicago, and you went to your room to get something to eat, and you brought me back this phenomenal bar. It was
Yeah.
delicious. Does that have 30 grams of
No, it
protein?
doesn't. So that's the other thing. It's like bars can be good, but they're like emergency. Like I wasn't making it. I can't go 6 hours between meals. I don't need 60 to 90 minutes, but I need 4 or 5 hours between meals. I can make it now. It's kind of a miracle. And a little thing about the protein. If you have kidney problems, you might not be able to eat that much. You got to check with your doc, but most people can handle that amount at the very least per meal. So it's possible to live off of bars, but it's not great. That super processed has got all these other things, unless you got one of the ones that's made with 4 or 5 ingredients, which I'm allergic to and can't eat. I wish I could. But you want to eat real food almost all the time. Like, real food is packaged in a way that our bodies are meant to handle. Super highly processed stuff might say that it's got 30 grams of protein, but it's also got all this other stuff that might give you GI problems,
Mhm.
might make you feel you might become too musical and socially unacceptable with all of those processed things going on in there. But those bars are great for I've got to work out. I need to have my 30 grams on board. I'm going to have maybe my one protein shake of the day and one of those bars afterwards so that my muscles can build instead of getting smaller. And they're super healthy, good source things, but I shouldn't have more than a few per week. I can't live on those. But when I'm at a conference, and most of the food is carb based and fat based, I'm going to be a mess. Plus, I'm going to fall asleep. And then I'm going to be with really high powered people who I want to make relationships with. And I'm going to be grumpy
Mhm.
and not be able to think clearly. So then I got to grab a protein bar and a shake or something like that.
Got it.
And, I keep it in the room. Like I'll order a really nice salad the night before, keep it in the room so I have something to eat
Mhm.
that's reliable.
Mhm. So I heard planning, right? You have to be
Yes.
specific and you have to plan. And I want to ask you this question. I've met you a couple times in person. You're very slim, and I want you to either bust this what do you call it? Just bust this bubble. Well, first of all, were you ever overweight in being unhealthy? And the real question is, can you be unhealthy and also be slim?
Yes, I was skinny fat. So, I didn't look real, real big, but my percent body fat was high. My visceral fat was getting up there. It wasn't too bad. I didn't have as much muscle, and the less muscle you have, the fewer calories you burn on a regular basis. And you just feel bad. And my cholesterol was going higher and higher and higher. And all of that was related to those five modifiable things. And my glucose was spiking really badly and then plummeting. So, yes, you can be slim and be unhealthy. And yeah, I was there to prove it.
No, thank you for that. Good, and that's good to know. And something you said your glucose was spiking and then plummeting. I saw something recently. There's a new product on the market. Um, Serena Williams is promoting it, where she's monitoring her blood sugar. Whether or not she's diabetic, pre-diabetic, don't know. But do you recommend that type of monitoring for your patients?
I do. I actually give glucose monitors to my patients. Um, and most people can handle it, even people who are afraid of needles, because it's spring loaded and it's in so fast, and then the needle is out, and there's just this little flexible detector that's in your arm, and most people tolerate it extremely well. There are rare people who can't tolerate it, but it gives you so much information. You can get the over-the-counter one that reads about every 15 minutes. You can get the prescription one that insurance mostly does not cover, which is a whole nother conversation about how much they could save if they prevented diabetes, but we're not going to go there today. That's a couple $100 a month. Um, and the information you get is amazing. Like there's certain things that spike me that don't spike other people because I have my own system. And then over time, I've become more tolerant. And then there's certain things that no matter how healthy I am, no matter how much I hike, no matter how much I do the hacks, I'm going to spike because they're processed. They're ultra processed, and that's just the way it is. But I have a super plummet afterwards. I have reactive hypoglycemia, which is why I was hungry every 60 to 90 minutes.
Ah. So I was thinking you just had a high metabolism.
Now I have reactive hypoglycemia, which is it's also very common, but mine was very extreme. It probably goes along with some other things that I have with connective tissue issues. But I don't have to be a victim of my genes. I just have to take care of myself. So if I'm not eating this ultra processed stuff, I'm not going to have that extreme reaction. It's just not going to happen. But I can't get away with things that another person could. And in a way, that sort of helps me because I have to take care of myself. They might feel okay, but they're building up diabetes and prediabetes and kidney and heart and nerve disease. It's all those things without any symptoms. So maybe it's better that I'm a princess in the pea because I'm being told I have to take care of myself or I fall apart.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So I wanted to kind of bring us full circle because one of the things that I do, this podcast is for entrepreneurs, more so female entrepreneurs, but those that are looking to scale their business, to seven figures. And I know you just started a relatively new business, like last year. Okay,
Yeah.
still kind of doing some things, but I do know that your $1 million moment probably happened in your first career,
Yeah.
and you just got to outline how it didn't really go from a health perspective. It really wasn't that great. But I really want to know the mindset behind that moment. And even for you, what did you learn from it, and how are you building this second, third, fourth business differently?
Such a good question because what I did the first time was I did more to make more. I took on more roles. I did more things. I moved to new places. I had 5 leadership roles when I finally retired. It was ridiculous. Not all of them were paying. I enjoyed it, but I had spread myself way too thin and I paid the price. And it worked. I made a lot of money, and I also walked away from a lot of money. I could have made way more than what we just talked about if I'd stayed. But it wasn't worth it for my health and my happiness. And so now Michelle and I, and then each of us on our own with our individual businesses, have a much more manageable plan to that next million, which allows us to have time to take care of ourselves and our friends and our family and still have hobbies and get sleep and do all of those things. And that means scaling in a different way. So sometimes I'm a coach and I have multiple people in a group. Sometimes I'm a doc and I have multiple people in a group. Sometimes I'm one-on-one. But I'm not going to see, hundreds of patients one-on-one in a year because there isn't enough of me to go around and still take care of myself. So, and I want to be able to volunteer and I want to be able to um, give big discounts to women who really are motivated and want to get healthier, but just can't afford it any other way. So I'm pretty excited about this. Michelle and I, by ourselves and together, have a plan. And I think you met this person who is helping us to figure it out, which is very, very cool, setting up these things that will touch people in a way that doesn't destroy our personal lives.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yes, we did connect through there.
Yeah.
And so it's good. It's great to have that mindset that one, you can do it. You can do it the wrong way and be successful.
Yes,
You
I
can
did that.
also do it more of a right way that fits with your life and your body and live longer, which really is, I think, the a bigger success meter, if you will.
Yeah, and it's about also kind of sometimes you don't have the words to say what's working, but your body's telling you. Like you're working on a deal and you're getting terrible headaches or chest pain or nausea, and it's your body saying that this is not the right deal. It might have a really big paycheck attached to it, but is this the right deal? And you have to figure out whether that's fear of success or failure or your body actually saying that this is not the right deal. So that's what I finally figured it out. I wasn't in the right deal, and now I am in the right deal. And it allows me to do scary things, but also take care of myself.
I love that. Whether or not you're in the right deal, the body will tell you. The
Yeah,
body
exactly. Which
will
means
tell
you have to
you.
listen.
Yes.
Yeah, so my whole thing is like listening to yourself, which it empowers you to respond rather than react. Then you can adapt into your future. Maybe you've got a trip coming or a new venture or somebody's sick in your family. And then it's got to all be wrapped in forgiveness because there's so much shame out there about you should have done this and you should be healthy and your weight and your cholesterol, all that stuff. Just take care of you the best you can.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. That's very, very, very valuable. So I want to close on two things. One, I want you to share with us. You talked about I think you were is it ushering? Ushering
Escorting women
escorting
to wellness.
escorting. I love that visualization. So share your program and how folks can get a hold of you.
So my website is drjeanettelinder.com. I also have a community called Dr. Linder's Healing Lounge. And that's a way to get access to some free things. And then I also have different levels depending on how committed people are to really making those transitions. And, it takes time for people to make changes. It's honestly, it's easier to treat cancer than it is to help people change their habits,
Oh my
right?
God.
Because we have to.
That that is powerful. I need you to say
Yeah.
that again.
Yeah, it's easier to treat cancer because that's a pill for an ill or a procedure or whatever, and it's kind of, formulaic. Of course, there's TLC that goes into that, but it's formulaic. But with this, each person needs to be seen, heard, and understood in a way that they may never have before. By themselves, by me, we spend a lot of one-on-one time figuring it out, and then they start to listen to their tools. Maybe it's a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, or their labs, but it's always got to be like, how are they feeling? What are their symptoms today? They got worse when they went to Aunt Lullaby's and she fed them X. Well, because you don't tolerate X, right? You just have to really go through it. It's a process.
Mhm, mhm. So the final question, I want you to fill in the blank. Wellness isn't optional. It's
Essential. And it's within reach. People think it's impossible and you have to have tons of money. You don't. You can go to the frozen food section and buy freshly frozen veggies, organics best, but if you can't afford it, you can go get your frozen stuff, see what's on sale, put it together with some high quality protein and some good carbs, and eat the way our grandmothers ate. They had veggies and a healthy starch and a protein. Why does it need to be that hard? And it could be delicious, right?
yes, yes, absolutely. Well, Dr. Jeanette, thank you so much for being here on the show. We were
Thank
talking
you.
about health, we're talking about business, but it's really the business of health. And how can you navigate this space so that you're not crashing out and burning and killing yourself along the way? So that's perfect. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to the next time we get to hang out.
Thank you. And I did forget to mention lancelinder.com because that's where we're helping women lead boldly while building health and joy. We put them together. So
Together,
it's very exciting.
I love it. And tell them the website one more time.
lancelinder.com, LANCE, that's Michelle's last name, and LINDER.com, that's mine.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, hold on tight for a second. I'm going to close this out and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
All right. And there you have it. That was Dr. Jeanette Linder. Such good information. You all just got a prescription from a functional medicine doc who has made the millions, and now she's pivoted and going in a different direction and going to do this better. And so for those that are listening, make sure you check her out. Make sure you continue following Boss Business Strategies. I am here to give you the framework. I'm giving you the tools in order to boss up both in life and in business. And I am your life and business coach. And what I do is I help entrepreneurs who are navigating this business building process to harness the power of their story, to build an authentic platform, and then to chart a pathway to business success using frameworks, using strategies, using structure, and using accountability. You can find me at drmarcia.com. So until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.